Hi, good morning. This is Mike Alexander. It's Friday the 23rd of November. I represent the MJA Alexander Group, and our principal website is A Mortgage For You. What I'd like to cover today is one of the questions that I'm asked more than anything else by clients. When I've been on to the high street and I've applied for a mortgage and I've been turned down, is there any other lender out there who will look at me with my bad credit history? In other words, can I still get a mortgage? In most cases, the clients are informed by the lender that they failed the credit score because there is some form of adverse credit showing on their file. They're never given an explanation as to what that is, and in most cases they are advised to get their credit file from Experian, Equifax or Call Credit in order that we can identify what that adverse credit is. And that's the first thing that I would always say to a client: if you're not sure, let's have a look at your credit file, then we can make an informed decision what we're going to do, whether we can help you or not. Your credit file will cover the last 6 years and will show any financial transactions that you've had in the last 6 years, and it will also illustrate what we call payment profile, how you actually make those payments. And that is something that comes up time and time again. People do not understand what actually is bad credit. Well, it can be anything from a late or missed payment on the credit card, a store card, a loan, a mortgage, a secured loan, any sort of, even a catalogue. So all of these things will count very much against you if you're not making those payments on time. It goes on from there on to something what we call more serious, which would be credit defaults. That's normally when you're more than 3 months down on any credit arrangement, or county court judgments, bankruptcies or IVAs. With all of that in mind, can we still help? Well, the answer is yes, we can, but there are some parameters that lenders who we use ask us to adhere to. So to try and give you an idea of what that is, where you have adverse credit, what we're looking for is for this to be historical, and historical would be normally 2 years plus. So some lenders will look at adverse credit when it's more than 2 years old, and even more will look at it when it's more than 3 years old. Some lenders require that the adverse to be satisfied and some don't. So there's very much a little bit of a grey area. There's nothing hard and fast, and some lenders are more flexible than others. So it's getting that credit file, identifying where the problems are and seeing where you are going to fit. So if it's satisfied, it's slightly more helpful and will open more doors to you. And the more historical and the adverse credit is, so much better and easier for us to place. And also if we're looking at something like an IVA or a bankruptcy, when this has actually been discharged for 3 years or more, we are then looking at 75% loan to value with a recognised high street lender with the same interest rates available to you as to any other borrower. So it gets better the more time goes on, particularly when these things have or are actually satisfied. We are looking wherever possible for a reason for the adverse. How did this occur? Was it a marital breakup? Did you lose your job? What lenders are not very keen on is where someone says, I just couldn't be bothered, because if you couldn't be bothered then, are you going to be bothered in the future? So a very good reason for how this occurred always goes down well with our lenders. So to try and keep this in sort of fairly short format, the more historical the adverse credit is, the better for you. So 3 years or more, wonderful. And what this requires from you is a larger deposit. So we are looking at a minimum deposit of 15% with one lender where you are a second-time buyer, so it's not available to first-time buyers. And thereafter it's either 20, 25 or 30% depending on the lender, and the terms will reflect the size of the deposit and how historical that adverse credit is. So those are broad-based terms as to what's available to you. We have seen a slight movement by some of the smaller lenders, particularly the mutuals, who are looking to lend now to clients who've had a blip in the past, and that's been very helpful to us. So this is a very fragile market, we all understand that, and lenders are not going to expose themselves to a higher than usual risk, but they are willing to help provided that the problems are historical and you have a large enough deposit to carry that so-called higher risk. So if you have experienced any of this in the past and you'd like to give me a call, please do so. Number would be 08452 605 506. Be more than happy to help you. Thank you.